What's up? It's me out here again, trying to make another video. It's 2 in the fucking morning right now. While I'm recording, I hope my mom doesn't think that I have schizophrenia, and hopefully she just start thinking that I'm talking over Discord or some shit. I've been scared of this fucking project for so much time. I've made the recording, I've wrote the script, I collected the footage, I even did some research, which I don't do research. I never do the fucking research. If you hear any piece of fucking information, I'm the sauce, I'm the resource. I never do information. If you want to fucking be informed and educated, go watch fucking Vsauce or some shit. Anyhow, here's a randomly collected piece of media that declares my suffering into this fucking world. Sometimes you just sit down and start fucking wondering, why do I do this shit? Why do I do this shit to myself? What's the reason for existing? Why should I keep pulling this shit through? I have osteoporosis, AIDS, and I keep on doing this shit. Help. Nah, don't help. Just go fuck yourself. Just like the videos. My story with arcade is a little bit special. Like, not a lot of people have heard it. I was like around 3 years old. My mom used to take me to this marketplace, and it had a little arcade in it. It was just this alleyway with 4 machines. I remember very vividly. It was Metal Slug, Virtua Striker, King of Fighters, or Street Fighter or some shit like that, and Tekken 3. Focus on Tekken 3. Tekken 3 blew my fucking brains out. I watched this kid whip the fuck out of Azazel or Ogre, whatever the fuck. He was playing Eddie, and Eddie did his capoeira bullshit, and that amazed me, and from that moment I was hooked. It's like the first time an addict does heroin. Shit blew my mind off. I fell in love since that moment, and that moment has generated one of my biggest passions in life, which is video games. Now in this video I'm not going to talk about video games, obviously. If you read the title, if you have enough brain cells to do so. It's about arcades only. Now my story with arcades has been like vast and big, and I can talk for fucking hours about this. Long story short, I've been to a lot of arcades. I've played the fuck out of multiple games. King of Fighters mainly has been responsible for many stealings from my mom's wallet. I stole that shit from my mom's purse, went running to the fucking arcade, kicked fucking Rugal ass, like kicked some Rugal ass, beat the fuck out of Orochi with Kim, balled out, had the best evening in my life, had the best evenings, not just one. I remember very vividly the games that I used to play. One of my favorite games is Cruising Exotica, because in the old version they had like the ladies with the swimming suits on, the 2-piece, and those motherfuckers looked fine as fuck. That's perversion in its purest form. I'm not gonna lie, King of Fighters had some baddies too. If you want to look into some R's, Rule 34, King of Fighters, you wouldn't be disappointed. Shemi, Athena, I don't know. Mary, also Mary's a baddie. Come on. Mai, bruh, come on, Mai for sure. Leona, I could go on for fucking days. I remember also like very vividly. My vivid memory is the theme of this video. I remember busting a couple of nuts on Pantera. Pantera is damn. That's perfection. Pantera reminds me of Ralph Bakshi princesses. I'm gonna talk about Ralph Bakshi at one point in my life because that motherfucker made some bangers. Not gonna lie. But yeah, moving on from hot mommies. Now, moving on from my personal side of things, arcades have been like a big influence on art and culture all around the 80s and 90s era. Arcades weren't even a concept, but the concept of a game where you can push money through a coin slot and there's this weird gimmicky thing have been forever, as long as I can remember, where you get like fucking zapped. There used to be these machines that would zap you while playing games around the 50s and 40s. Moving on to the 60s and 70s, pinball machines and the fucking I don't know what they call it, Bobby Fooch. I'm gonna put up an image. Pool. I don't know if pool counts as arcades or in the arcade culture, but where I grew up, pool is definitely one of the biggest poles of the modern arcade, or even arcades in general. If you walk into an arcade, 99.9% they have a pool table. Arcade and arcade games have been like a huge influence on culture around the 80s and 90s era, and you can see it even in the animes. Producers were just looking for something to make a movie about. There's this huge influx of money and this huge influx of talent and raw artistic expression. The art style of some certain games is just mind-boggling, and I love how that have been transformed to modern home consoles. For example, Sega Genesis. Sega Genesis has one of the most aesthetically pleasing games I've ever saw, Comic Zone. That game is just mind-bogglingly awesome. I'm a huge sucker. I'll hop on that art style stick for eternity and beyond. I can't stop. Synthwave is like one of the biggest things I advocate for. Here's some synthwave. You probably listened to some synthwave in this video. You probably listened to fucking Home a couple of times. Music. I don't know. Movies, the fucking Mortal Kombat movies and the anime of Street Fighter. I could go on forever. Now, one of the biggest, or one of the main attraction points for me, for why did I used to hang around arcades when I was little, is music. Music, even though the music back then wasn't that good, motherfuckers put around shabby and shit. Here's a clip of a shabby if you're not familiar with it. Motherfuckers just we're balling regardless. We're having fun. We're being goofy. We're boys being boys. It is what it is. I used to love music, especially if they put on some shit like this. Now, if you know my personal taste, and you surely did if you watched a couple of my videos, you'd know that I'm not a usual listener to this style of music. But I am though. Come on, I'm Moroccan after all. This shit runs in my blood, dog. But anyways, listen to cheb, akel. Pure talent, current rye, bullshit, trash, dog water, old school 80s and 90s banger. That's how it was always been, and that's how it will always be. Moving on. As far as the next point that I can think of, I can only think of like the current state of arcades. Arcades didn't disappear, surely, but they are decreasing because of like how cheap consoles are. You can get like a PS2 for fairly cheap, or even like an Xbox 360 or like a PS3 for a very cheap price. And I think that's good, especially for young gamers that actually want to play and not just fucking rot their brains with like Free Fire or some shit like that. I don't know. Just buy your kid a console. Moving on. Arcades are surely decreasing, but I don't think they're gonna disappear. I'm actually hopeful about this. Even if they did disappear, the art form still stands thanks to some concepts like emulation. For example, if you have a cell phone right now, you can download like most of the games that I mentioned. Most of them are officially published by Sega. I know you can get your hands around some fishy shit like modded ROMs or some shit. It is what it is, but it still exists. Dog, I'm not trying to hand myself into some fishy waters, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, son. No one is buying that shit anymore. No one is like selling it. So yeah, moving on to my next point. Emulation. Emulation has been like one of my favorite things. I love to like submerge myself in nostalgia. That's why I used to play a lot of old games. When my fucking controller used to work, it decided randomly to just kill itself, and now I'm stuck playing Valorant for the rest of my life, and I fucking hate it. I want to play Tekken 6, man. Fuck out of here. I want to play Pepsi, man. God damn. So yeah, use emulation. That's how you can like preserve the art. The art certainly isn't disappearing because people appreciate pixel art, and pixel art is a truly an artistic expression if done right. If it's not just, hey, here's some cool wallpaper, now pay me $5, or it's a fucking cool picture on Pinterest. Whatever. Just emulate games. Go to local arcades if you have any. Play old video games, they're worth it. Listen to synthwave. Enjoy life. I'm done with this bullshit. Here's the video. Now my conscience can rest and I can sleep and take a shit without my consciousness beating the fuck out of me. Moving on from my introspective thoughts and bullshit. I need therapy. I'm out.